Welcome back to another video lecture for AP World History. This time we're going to talk about the new movement called Nationalism, which was a movement in the 1600s and 1700s. So there was this revolution in thought in the 1600s called not nationalism, but the Enlightenment. Enlightenment leaders and philosophers challenged institutions like the monarchy, the Catholic Church, the divine right of kings, and the social hierarchy of the time. These thinkers used the categories of rationality and empiricism, or looking at empirical objects, to develop innovations in ideologies and belief systems. They claimed in the end that all people are equal based upon their ability to use free consciousness to think, criticize, and create new ways for societies to grow. Now, the Enlightenment probably sounds really excellent because we are the great-grandchildren of that legacy. But we really do have to question if the assumptions of the Enlightenment were really correct. I mean, are human beings really defined only by our rationality? Can we really claim that our greatest understandings about the meaning and significance of our existence are found in thinking? And if all humans are equal, do we end up believing that everyone is basically the same? Well, there were a group of thinkers who argued that the Enlightenment was really wrong on multiple counts. And this is not because they wanted to go back to the ideas of the past. Rather, they accepted the Enlightenment's criticism of institutions like the monarchy, the Catholic Church, and traditional wisdom. This group of thinkers, called the Romantics, challenged the Enlightenment by arguing that their thinkers did not go far enough in understanding the individuality of human beings and their existence. Romantics argued that humans were not primarily rational. Rather, according to Romantics, humans are fiercely intuitional, not emotional, intuitional. What do they mean by that? Romantics believed that each individual was completely different. Every individual brings their own identity, experiences an individual spirit. No two people are alike. Why not? Because each individual is born with different personalities, different talents, and different passions. This means, unlike the Enlightenment, there is no universal human being. Romantics also argued that rationality was really kind of dangerous. How so? Rationality gives humans the sense that they are in control. Have you ever stood in front of a great canvas of nature, like the Grand Canyon? And when you looked out, you saw that you really weren't in control. For the Romantic, an individual who's being honest will stand in front of that great canvas of nature and see the beauty that is overwhelming. The individual will realize that he or she is really pretty small in contrast to this vast and great creation. To Romantics, this experience is what is called the sublime. The sublime is a sense of terror, a realization that we are nothing in the middle of this vast creation. But this also means that we play a role with everyone else in acting within the creation. So, I know this is going to sound contradictory, we're also everything. Wait a second. How can you be both nothing and everything at the same time? We are nothing in contrast to the universe, but we grow as individuals in our time and in our country and in our culture. And this is where we get our identity. Our families, our neighborhood, our country is what give us meaning and identity. So nationalism is born as a way for individuals to get a sense of identity and meaning in the midst of something so huge surrounding us. This belief in the importance of the nation and culture led to significant consequences because groups of people in different parts of the world began to argue for their own local identity, their own local power. They wanted to break away from those big empires we have been studying about. And they wanted to develop their own systems of how to manage their own life. So let's go to some of these revolutions. The first one is the American Revolution. Now, the American Revolution was largely a revolution based upon the English principles of natural rights, checks and balances, and the desire for local control. But in many ways, the American Revolution transitioned us into the issues of Romanticism because Americans wanted local control. So they broke away from their parents in England to form their own identity. Or let's take the French Revolution. Now there we have a revolution based upon Enlightenment principles, equality, checks on the monarch, and a call for the ending of social classes. But it was the Haitian Revolution that fundamentally changed all this. Black revolutionaries were led by Toussaint Louverture. Louverture was not just challenging slavery. He was challenging the notion that white identity could define all human beings. Instead, the revolution in Haiti called for a new identity based upon local power and a challenge to the authority of white European leaders. This was further demonstrated with a movement for national freedom in Latin America. Latin American countries at the time were controlled by either Spain or Portugal. In the case of Brazil, it was with Portugal. In Mexico, Father Miguel Hidalgo led the lower class of peasants against the Spanish authorities for freedom. The peasant movement was eventually crushed by both the upper and middle classes in Mexico. Both feared that the peasants, if they won, would create chaos. But these same middle class leaders then turned and rebelled against the Spanish and Portuguese. Why? Well, in Latin America, there was a hierarchy of classes. These included what were called the peninsulares, people born in Spain but they came to Latin America. Creoles, people born to the peninsulare parents but born in Latin America. Mestizos, people of mixed European and native birth. And the natives themselves, people born from an indigenous background. Simón Bolívar, a Creole of middle class, led a movement in Venezuela to break away from the Spanish. He wanted to give Creoles local power and representation. He called for an alliance with the local poor and peasant class, but in the end, his hope really was to break away from Europe. He wanted to create a confederacy of countries with Mexico as the capital. He joined with another leader, José San Martín from Argentina, to unite the people in South America to end Spanish and Portuguese control. And they won. In the end, what this meant was that in Latin America, a new identity was born. An identity based upon local control, based upon local culture. So what are our takeaways? Okay, 3 big takeaways I want you to see from nationalism. First off, nationalism is a movement away from the movement of enlightenment. Enlightenment is still sort of the grandfather of all these movements, but what we see happening now in nationalism is a belief that humans are more than rationality. We are also intuitional. We are also emotional. A second takeaway that I want you to see from that is what we mean by intuitional. Intuitional is not just emotions that change from day to day, but rather the idea that every human being is unique and different. There is no universal human being. And because of that, human beings very much are a part of their local culture, their local neighborhoods, their local family, their local culture, and their local nation. And this leads into our takeaway number 3, and that is that a lot of the revolutions that we're going to see from here on out are not really based upon the Enlightenment criticism. They are based upon this idea of establishing local identity. And we're going to see that now leading all the way up until the 20th century. Okay, see you in class.